Excellent. Now, on to the next step. Elementary. Fine, I have to go to the brothel. Fine, I have to go to the brothel.
So, my dear man, have you reached a verdict?
I have distinguished the good perfumes from the bad, but even the good ones are nothing more than common sense for adolescents.
Who cares? It'll freshen up a few of my girls. Wait, there's a perfume here called Valerian. What is it?
It's not really a perfume, technically speaking, unless you like cats. It's more of a kind of medicine.
It smells strange. I don't really like it. Here, I can give it to you. And I have some information. Squibby is most assuredly locked up at the police station hereabouts. It would also seem that he's the one who doesn't want to come out.
Do you know someone by the name of Danny?
Danny? Big Danny, Nutcracker? The one who hates cats?
That's the one.
You're interested in that kind of bird? Be like dipping your biscuit in a pig's trough. She's dangerous, a real cyclone. So beware. And her appearance. She claims to adore perfumes. She'd need this whole box to smell sweet.
I doubt it'll take much to make Danny cooperate, perhaps by offering her a little gift. Let's go to the police station.
Can I get a refill, please?
You still there, honey pie?
I'll be back.
You do that.
Do you remember me? Would you be kind enough to help me by telling me how many policemen are inside in exchange for this bottle of perfume?
This is perfume. He's got a funny look on his face. Me, I want a pretty bottle with a button so that I can spray it all over myself. Got it?
Do you remember me? I'll be back.
You do that.
Do you remember me? Would you be kind enough to help me by telling me how many policemen are inside in exchange for this bottle of perfume?
There ain't much in the station. It was pretty busy, but now there's only one constable, dearie.
There we are. Now Danny has been sprayed with valerian, a scent that's irresistible to cats. I must create a diversion in the street to make the policemen come out, but I need some cats. Lots of cats. To the pet shop. I must go to the pet shop.
What can I do for you?
So, how is Bert doing?
He'll pull through. But he must eat, and I have no food for him here. We will need to find him some.
And where can we get some cat food?
We must find Hardiman. He sells meat for cats. It's around this time when he passes the end of the road. You might be in luck. You'll hear him from far away. He was always calling beep, beep,
Thank you for everything, Mr. Solomonovich. So, Pounds, shall we look for the cat food seller? Poor Bert has to be fed, and I might have some work for you and your friends.
Beep beep. Beep beep.
Good evening, sir.
How do? A little kebab for the cat? These little brats can't possibly all be yours.
Pardon? Oh, no, none of them.
Ah, children, they're our pride and joy. And yet,
Do cats really like kebabs?
they adore them. How many would you like?
I'll take the lot.
I beg your pardon, sir?
How much for the lot?
For £2, they're all yours, my lord.
It's a deal. Listen up, my little soldiers. You need to find all the cats in Whitechapel and lead them towards the police station. You'll be armed with delicious kebabs to entice them. Go, as quick as you can now. If my calculations are correct, the cats will be seduced by Danny's odour and will throw themselves on her. That should cause enough of a commotion to get the policeman to come out onto the street. Come on now, children. Let the cats alone.
But what's all this racket? Calm down. Come on, out. And make those cats shut up.
Well now, let's see what I can do about Squibby. This must be the door that leads to the cells.
And who are you?
I've come to talk to you about Tumblety.
So you're here to kill me, are you?
Absolutely not. I've come on behalf of someone you know who told me you have some explosive news about this American. In exchange, he has settled your bill on the kayaks.
You ain't no street person, you. You're a bobby, trying to wind me up, aren't you?
Not at all. Will you agree to talk?
Not a chance. I'll give nothing away for nothing. I don't have to follow Bluto's orders. I'm in it up to my neck, and the bobbies won't agree to keep me locked up here for the rest of my life.
You mean to say that you are here of your own accord?
Damn right. Only death awaits me out there. I was almost lynched because I was blamed for the murder of those poor girls who were chopped up like animals. The police put me here for my own safety. That's when this journalist showed up.
A journalist?
I socked him once for disrespecting me down at the pub. He said I'd pay for it one day, and that day came. He said he was going to squeal to the papers about me. With my description and my tattoos and all, I was arrested at the same time the police said they'd caught the Whitechapel killer. While waiting to write the article, he started the rumour. Now the streets ain't safe for me no more.
I understand. Listen, if I find this journalist and make him promise to not write a word about you, and if I also agree to pay for you to get out of London, will you tell me everything you know about Tumblety?
You sure know how to speak to ruffians, don't you? You got yourself a deal.
What's the name of this journalist?
Bulling. Tom Bulling.
Tom Bulling? That name sounds familiar. That wouldn't be the journalist that Watson met at the Wasp's Nest.
Huh?
Ah, no, nothing. I was just thinking aloud. Well, I'll be going, Squibby.
You're right. It ain't healthy here.
I shall leave Bluto's treasure at the station. The police will know what to do with it. I shall leave Bluto's treasure at the station. The police will know what to do with it.
Hey, but what are you up to here, you? Off with you, and make it quick before I take you in.
Let's go to the wasp's nest. Let's go to the wasp's nest. No, if Bluto sees me, it could prove to be quite dangerous. Let's return to Baker Street to change. Good evening. There'll be a nice tip in it for you if you can tell me if you recently saw a journalist here.
Yes, sir. A damn nuisance, that man. And a real cad. He cursed me out something fierce for staining a book that he put down, even though it was him who was shaking so much that he soiled it with a whole lot of ale.
He was reading a book?
Oh, not a real book. A halfpenny rag. He put it down on the ground, and I put it in the paper bin for the stove. It should still be there if it weren't already put in the fire.
Goodbye, miss.
At your service, me lord.
Spring-heeled Jack, a fantastical character that terrorizes the population of London. This journalist has some far from cheerful reading. Evening. A pint for me and have one for yourself. I'm looking for a journalist, a good client of yours. Goes by the name of Bulling. Ring any bells?
Haven't seen him for a day or two. He must be sleeping it off somewhere. Where to hide from the landlord when you owe some serious bread?
What paper does he work for?
I don't know, but I can't believe that he works at his rag, because he's always round the pub scribbling his useless papers. The last time I seen him, he spent a whole day at that table drinking and scratching away from morning till night. He finished by celebrating, and without the help of a rich chap, he would have fleeced me of a guinea.
Thank you, my friend.
That's nothing.
Some paper, ink stains. This must be the table where Bulling writes his copy. Let's return to Baker Street. Tom Bulling isn't here, but the Baker Street irregulars should be able to track him down. Perhaps Watson will have something to tell me in the morning.
Up at last, Holmes. Were you able to get anything from that crook at the wasp's nest yesterday?
Not yet, but I am working on it. And yourself, Watson, what were you able to find out from your colleague about the sale of second-hand female parts?
Holmes? Well, actually...
Let it be, Watson. It was tiring, no doubt.
Well, as soon as I mentioned the possible existence of a black market dealing in human parts, everyone in the hospital became very tense. This silence, therefore, tells us more than anything else at this point.
However, I have trouble believing that such a peculiar dealing as that involving Annie Chapman's uterus could have gone unnoticed in the medical community, if that is indeed what happened.
That's my opinion, as well as that of my old university colleague. He maintains that any form of organ trafficking would be impossible, not to mention unnecessary. However, he did tell me something rather troubling: the unexplained disappearance of several corpses from the hospital morgue. He has allowed me to investigate, provided I do so discreetly, and here is what I found, concealed in what appeared to be a secret letterbox.
Interesting, an encoded message.
Indeed, and look, the symbol of a certain well-known Spartaca encyclopedia is printed on it. Perhaps it will help in deciphering the letter.
Thank you, Watson. Are you going out again?
I promised a new patient, Captain Stenick, I'd go round to examine him. He lives nearby. I may be back before you've had a chance to decipher this mysterious message.
Good. Let's decipher the encoded words in the message that Watson found at the London hospital. Elementary. My dear Watson, I congratulate you on your investigation. This letter seems to well and truly confirm the organised trafficking of bodies in London.
My God, how dreadful.
Watson, we must go to the address that appears in this message. I would suggest you take your weapon.
It hasn't left my side since the beginning of this whole affair, Holmes.
I'll also be putting on my workman's disguise again. One never knows.
But what about me, Holmes?
Stay as you are, Watson. At worst, you can pass as my employer. Find Wharfdale Road on the map of London, Watson.
Understood, Holmes. Yes, I have, Holmes.
Here we are, Watson. 17 Wharfdale Road. Let's be careful.
You think so, Holmes? This house seems to be abandoned.
Given the layer of dust accumulated in the square, this door must rarely open. Closed. This lock is solid but very old. I should be able to force it. Numerous footsteps. Apparently this passage is used frequently. This door was recently reinforced. Impossible to open it. This wheel is in good shape, but it is impossible to remove it. The pin holding it is stuck. This rope seems strong. It is sure to come in handy. I need something. Look, if we lift a board from this window, we should be able to pass through. But first we have to get ourselves up there.
You are joking, Holmes?
This trolley seems to be in good condition, apart from the broken wheel, of course. A tarred cover. There, this piece of tarpaulin is very thin, but solid enough for our purposes.
But what the devil are you doing, Holmes?
There, by sliding this piece of tarred tarpaulin, I was able to quite simply force the lock. Let's go in.
Incredible!
These jars contain chemical products. I have no idea what they are for. Some makeup applicators. These little metal instruments are rather curious. I'll take one. There's something here. There's something here. door. We must find a way to get down through it, Watson.
Incredible.
Excellent. Now, on to the next step. I will go down alone, Watson. Try to cover for me if someone should happen along.
Understood, Holmes.
A coffin, recently made and already broken. It is a stretcher that can be dismantled into 2 pieces. I have to find a way to take it upstairs, I think. I'll be needing it. Here's an electrical mechanism. Turning the handle should supply it with energy. Ah, it would seem that there is a broken connection. A hammer. I'll take it. Pincers. This old box must have held nails a long time ago. Nothing of interest. Rings, wedding rings, gold teeth. I don't imagine where they came from. Here's an electrical mechanism. Turning the handle should supply it with energy. Ah, it would seem that there is a broken connection. Clothing that appears to be destined to be incinerated. A pointed poker. This is sure to come in handy. Excellent. Now, on to the next step. This box is broken. The wires must be reconnected. Pray, think. Elementary.
That's good, Holmes. I don't know why you brought this thing back up, but I can take it.
Perfect, Watson. This bent key just needs a little repair job to make it usable. This old box must have held nails a long time ago. Nothing of interest. This may come in handy. This may come in handy. This may come in handy. Let's hope that it really is the key to this door.
And so, Holmes? Let's hurry, Holmes. This neighborhood makes me ill at ease.
Closed. This door was recently reinforced. Impossible to open it. Given the layer of dust accumulated in the square. Given the layer of dust accumulated. This little instrument will serve perfectly as a pin punch.
But what the devil are you doing, Holmes?
This trolley seems to be in good condition, apart from the broken wheel, of course. Elementary.
But what the devil are you doing, Holmes?
This stone was blocking the wheel. This stone was blocking the wheel. Excellent. Now, on to the next step. hope this ladder will support my weight. Let's go.
My God, Holmes, where are we?
For us to find out, my friend. This woman is dead, Watson.
Yes, several days ago, Holmes, but the body is perfectly preserved. No odour, no visible decomposition. Look, Holmes, a label from the London hospital. It must be a corpse stolen from the London hospital.
This cheap jewel must be an accessory of some sort. This door was recently reinforced. Impossible to open it. Some makeup applicators. Strange smell. What do you think, Watson?
A zinc chloride solution without a doubt. A product generally injected into cadavers to help preserve them.
Someone made up this corpse. The lips have been coloured and the rings around the eyes carefully camouflaged. Yes, somebody wanted to give the impression of life.
To what end?
This may come in handy. Look at this photo. It is inscribed Ethel Broomstreet, 1851 to 1878. This young woman who died 10 years ago looks like the one stretched out on this table. This old photo shows a young man dressed after the fashion of an employee in front of a shop. Amusing. The man in the photo taken in 1883 and the one on Prince Raskolnikov's leaflet are one and the same, and no more a prince or a Russian than you or I, Watson. Glass eyes in all shapes and all colours. It's a puzzle box. Let's see if I can open it. There we are. Magnificent. This square object is very unusual. This letter speaks of a sign of recognition. Interesting. I'm missing some information. These clothes are new, just like the deceased's dress. I imagine her clothes were changed. Watson, this corpse was embalmed and made up and dressed to look like a woman who had died 10 years earlier. All is clear, Watson. A charlatan, passing himself as a prince, making the dead come back by using corpses as puppets.
Which explains the disappearance of corpses at the London hospital. It was to fuel this sordid entertainment. Holmes, I hear a cab stopping in the courtyard. Someone's coming.
It is probably the dealers, Watson, but instead of running, what if we were to meet them, if we managed to win their trust?
You are joking, Holmes? Well then, you best tell me why you're here, otherwise I'll make you talk myself. Oi, what you doing there, you? It's private in here.
Calm down, we aren't here as tourists. We have come to collect our packet.
Oh, well then, you just had to say. I was told that you weren't no tramps, but I weren't expecting that you was... Given your get-up, I guess you're boss.
Yes.
Well, the subject ain't ready yet. I ain't done with it yet. You'll have to come back.
Well, that's, a real problem.
Say, we have personal orders too, for some organs. You wouldn't know where we can find them.
What type then?
Kidney, uterus.
Oi, I don't hack up my dollies. That's the work of an artist.
But you wouldn't happen to have a colleague who might furnish this type of item?
No, you can't make a copper doing that nowadays. Since the bigwigs made it easy to get stiffs, the medical schools are bursting with bodies to carve up. Docs and students have got all they need. Business is dead. For a few coppers, hospital bloke might help you out, but I don't know for sure. They'd be right in for it if they got caught. It probably just ain't worth it.
I understand. And what do you do with the corpses once you're finished with them?
I don't bother myself with that. But one thing's for sure. After the séance, they're good for nothing but chucking out. I ain't Napoleon's embalmer.
Well, if you'll excuse...
You've got a funny way of talking, you.
Oi, it's normal. He's a brain, you see. A thinker at that. Seize you round, old man.
So, Holmes, the corpses that have disappeared from the London hospital are used during séances. Nothing to do with organ trafficking.
Yes, it all suggests nothing of the kind is underway in London. In the medical world, all dealings would be visible, not to mention unnecessary. The crook we met confirmed this viewpoint. It's hard to imagine, therefore, that our Whitechapel killer perpetrated these massacres with the goal of selling the organs.
What lead should we follow now, Holmes?
Try to learn more about Tumblety. This squibby should give us some information, but first I must stop the journalist Tom Bulling from harming him. I hope my secret police will soon have some information on him. While we wait, Watson, I would ask you to inform your colleagues of your recent discoveries. It would be good if these morbid, ghostly spectacles stopped, and this will need to be done at the London hospital.
You are right, Holmes. Another false lead followed by the police, Holmes? Yesterday's Times says that a John Fitzgerald, who had claimed responsibility for the murder of Annie Chapman, has finally been released. He was, it says, lying.
That's of little importance, Watson.
It's incredible. It's been more than 3 weeks since the murderer struck, and the tension is as strong as ever. The press won't stop talking about him, and people are still full of fear. Perhaps the killer got what he wanted, people talking about him, and has chosen to stop committing crimes. What do you think, Holmes?
I doubt it, Watson. Everything leads me to believe that he is in hiding and waiting for the right moment. The area is packed with police, and that would obviously hamper his work.
You think he will start again, Holmes?
I have every reason to believe nothing will stop him short of his arrest or his death. Sadly, our investigation has reached a dead end, and I fear that we'll need another victim to get back on track.
Yes, how awful. And what of the case of the burnt mat? Have you resolved that?
Oh, that's a matter of little interest, and resolving will be of no benefit, above all to Miss Fleming. Ha! I hear the footsteps of my faithful Wiggins on the stairs. The game is afoot again, Watson.
Mr. Holmes, the scribbler resurfaced. At last word, Pounce saw him racing to Central News Agency where he works.
Excellent, Wiggins. And still nothing on the doctor?
Sorry, Mr. Holmes. He's one sleek yank, but we'll find him.
Good work. Here's something for you. I must leave you, Watson. If I can get my hands on this bulling, I will have much more interesting news on the bothersome Tumblety. I have only to change. If you can, Watson, I entreat you to stay here and await my word. We may not be more than two when the time to act comes.
You can count on me, Holmes.
I must go to the Central News Agency. I am at the press agency where bulling works.
What do you want?
It would be very informative to search Bulling's desk before meeting him, but first I must get rid of this bothersome person, perhaps by offering him a scoop. Good evening. I'm looking for Tom Bulling, the journalist.
He isn't here. He must be sleeping off somewhere. He gave me a tip. He wanted to save a scope for me. He always gets a good dirt, and yet when he comes in here, it's just to warm his behind. Look, he pulled his desk over the stove.
Listen, Scoop, I'm bringing it over. Only if Bulling isn't here, I'm leaving.
Wait, what's this scoop?
Bulling promised me a reward for info. There's a charlatan who does spiritualist seances that are a little bit special. He steals corpses from the morgue, puts makeup on them, dresses them up, and then uses them as puppets.
I'll give you your dues. We'll pay you if this info is true.
I'll write down the address of the hideout on the crook's leaflet, but the police will be in on this one, so you better get there in time.
Understood. I'll go alone. Too bad for Bulling.
Hey, you wouldn't have a little something in advance?
Look on Bulling's desk. I know that he always leaves a few coins around for his snitches. Cheers.
Watson won't be pleased that I'm divulging the case, but I don't see any other way. Even handwriting, yet fairly recognizable. This is Bulling's desk, the one closest to the A torn piece of blotting paper. Curious, curious. It looks like someone wanted to... Walesby 1875, an ingenious way to save his contact. Central, Walesby 1875, if you will. Thank you, I'll wait.
Walesby, I am listening.
Hello, my dear man. I'm calling on behalf of Tom Bulling.
Bulling? So you know where this hypocrite, this liar, this...
Not at all. He is currently unobtainable. In the meantime, he has left me with a note asking me to pursue his work, and he told me that you were aware...
That's just great. I dropped everything off at his agency, but he didn't even bother to do the same for me. Tell me he at least gave you the information that I was asking in return.
I am ready, sir. I'm listening.
Do the police have a suspect for the bizarre theft of cigarettes and carrots that took place at the commercial street market?
I think, according to Bulling, that Inspector Lestrade's team is looking for a rabbit with a bad cough?
Ah, damned Bulling. One day he'll be in some serious trouble for mocking the police. And now, can you tell me, with regards to the parliamentary scandal, what did the head of the Whig Party respond to the Tories who were treating him as a great incompetent?
According to Bulling, the head of the Whigs said, "Vote for me, I will be your best representative."
Good. That'll make for a good paper. There is one last question. According to a government social study, civil servants make the best husbands. Why?
I believe I can confirm that it is because civil servants aren't tired and have already read the paper when they come home from work.
Very true. Good. It seems like Bulling has finally done his work.
As everything is all in order, can you now tell me where the information is that you sent to the agency?
Yes. There is a large brown envelope near the dispatch cabinet. It's in there that we exchange our tips with Bulling.
1,000 thanks. Goodbye, sir.
My salutations to Bulling.
There are several documents in this file. Let's see. I wonder why Bulling is studying this tale about Spring Hill Jack so meticulously. What does that mean? Well, well, a piece of information about the murders transmitted exclusively to the police without informing the press. That has piqued my curiosity. Perhaps I should go to the police station to get more information. What does that mean? I've inspected everything, but there's no sign of bullying. He must have dashed off to his HQ, the Wasp's Nest. However, before I go to see him, I should find out about this mysterious information. It could help me get something out of the journalist. To the police station, then. Let's go to the police station.
Come, come. Back again, are we? Come this way, good man. The inspector has a few questions to ask you. Here is the man, Inspector.
Congratulations, Humphreys. So, my lad, one would say that you owe us a bit of an explanation for having left something with us. What is your full name and profession?
Sherlock Holmes, consulting detective.
Well, how about that?
Mr. Holmes, can you explain this get-up, your presence in the neighbourhood despite my instructions, as well as this most opportune restitution of jewels?
Firstly, I should tell you that not being under your command, I never understood what you said as an order, but rather as advice. I thought I would be wise to follow them to a certain extent. I intended to explain the stolen goods sooner or later. My presence here will allow me to fill you in on a few conclusions that...
If it is in regard to the Whitechapel murders, it won't help us much. We have no doubt that we will be revealing the identity of the murderer to the people in the area in a day or two.
I'm impressed, Inspector, and I offer you my sincerest congratulations. Nonetheless, you should investigate a certain doctor.
Listen, Holmes, let us do our work. You've rid us of a great pain in the rear end by finding those jewels for us. It's weeks of work that you've saved us. But I think you're a little underqualified for a case like that of Jack the Ripper. Until it's over, I demand that you do not set foot in the area. Is that clear?
I take note of your advice, Inspector. You mentioned Jack the Ripper. Pardon me, but you know the name of the murderer?
Oh, it's from a letter that the Central News Agency sent our way. It was written by the killer. And even if it can't be proven, it must be recognised that the signature is striking. This information is confidential, and I would ask you to keep it to yourself, Holmes.
Can I have a little look? Out of mere curiosity, Inspector. Then I shall disappear.
In that case, I don't see any objection.
Thank you so much. Me? Not up to discovering who Jack the Ripper is? Well, we'll soon find out, won't we, Inspector Aberline? I know who wrote the Dear Boss letter signed Jack the Ripper that Inspector Aberline gave me, and, above all, I now know why. This Tom Bulling was inspired by this fantastical character to build a myth out of the Whitechapel killer. Perhaps he would be receptive if I shared my discovery about him and prevent him from accusing Squippy. I must find him at once. My best bet would be to try my luck at the pub.
Ah, Holmes, I got your message, and here I am.
Perfect, Watson. That oaf Bluto is looking for us with evil intentions, and he may be hiding here. I will try to get more information inside. You, Watson, will be our lookout, and at the slightest suspicious sound, do not hesitate to call the constable on his rounds. Good evening, Mr. Bulling.
We know each other?
No, however, I have some information that may be of interest to you.
Talk, my friend. A pint for you if what you say is worth something. Does it have to do with the Whitechapel murders?
Indeed, I know the identity of the man who wrote a letter to the police, a letter entitled Dear Boss, in which the author claims to be the Whitechapel murderer and is signed Jack the Ripper.
What?
It's a journalist who was inspired by Spring-Heeled Jack in order to strengthen the credibility and the seriousness of his agency. This new Jack will give him some first-hand information that he, in turn, will dole out sparingly to the authorities, as well as some carefully distilled indiscretions that the big papers will come to beg of him. He plays both sides off against one another and becomes the chief orchestrator of the rumour. He wrote this letter in this very spot, and he has red ink on his fingers. Like you.
What exactly are you after, my friend?
You've been threatening a certain Squibby to distribute a telegram naming him as a possible suspect in these murders in revenge for an old feud. I would suggest you don't write this note, and that you leave Squibby alone.
I'd forgotten about the existence of that rapscallion. I threw that at him when I was visiting the station to get the dope. You should have seen his face.
You must also stop sending these letters that waste the authorities' precious time.
Right, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. I have a great relationship with the Bobbies. Just ask around. I don't have to answer to nobody. Now leave me alone.
Farewell, sir.
Good riddance.
Let's hurry to the police station, Watson. We are close to our goal. Squibby will be able to reveal what he knows about Tumblety. Squibby, so that's it. You're a free man again. We were just coming to the station to find you.
Shh. Yeah, the Bobbies agreed to let me go, and I came to see Bluto before ferreting you out. So, you've seen the newspaper man?
Yes, he is in the pub and everything is taken care of, but I'm waiting to hear what you have to say about Dr. Tumblety.
Okay, but we have to be quick. One night, I goes to see Bluto in his hideout that ain't far from the boarding house where this Tumblety bloke has a room. I see him coming in too. He must have been on one real binge. To the point, the Tumblety fella was there, and he smiles at me, all nice like. He tells me he's a great Yankee doctor, but my business interests him. I'm interested, I tell him, but I'm not the type to just jump right in without getting to know a person, see? He invites me around to his room to talk business, just him and me. We empty a bottle or two, and all of a sudden, like, he wants to show me what he's got in this big trunk that he always carts around places. I just about vomited, see? In these jars, just like pickles, you know, there were pieces of meat. And he whispers that it's the lady bits of some old dames. He called them peckybins. I'd call them love killers, I would. Yuck! After that, he starts to go on about rich folk. They ain't nothing but dogs, and I won't tell you the worst of it. Then he comes all close to me and puts his sweaty hand on my leg. He was one of them types, not me. I don't wait a second before I give him a good thrashing, and I start running and let go of him, and he still wants to see me again just to talk business. But then I had to do time, so business.
Do you know where he can be found?
Why, ain't he in his digs? Maybe he got to liking life behind bars too. I heard that in some jobs there's a way to.
Thank you for your information, and we'll meet again, my friend. Here is the sum I promised to get you out of London.
Ciao, fella. I've just got a little score to settle with Bluto, and I'm heading for the country.
Lipsky!
My dear Watson, we must strike while the iron is hot. We have avoided meeting Dr. Tumblety until now. The time has come to do so.
Do you have an opinion, Holmes?
We must assure ourselves that the factor collector of female organs and a murderer who removes said organs are resident in the same area at the same time is nothing more than coincidence.
I thought that you wouldn't bring me back your keys. Oh, it's you, Mr. Holmes. Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Indeed, it is I again. One of your tenants left without returning his keys?
Yes, it's Dr. Tumblety whom we spoke about. Shortly after your last visit here, some constables came and asked me a few questions regarding him. Barely had they left than the doctor came barreling around a street corner and rushed up into his room upstairs. A little while afterwards, while I was tidying, I heard a thud in his room and a rush down the stairs. He left with most of his bags, but without returning his keys. You can go up and see if you wish. The door is still open.
Careful, Watson. Do not walk around here until I've inspected these marks.
I know, Holmes, I know. I understand your methods. Ah, you have your rule and magnifying glass. I thought that you had forgotten them, Holmes.
I never forget the essentials, my dear Watson. Size 13. This isn't water. Going by its sticky texture and odor, I'd say we're dealing with formalin.
Ah, you have your rule.
I never forget the essentials, my dear Watson. This isn't water. This isn't water. Right foot, light trails. The man was running. These are the footprints of a tall man who had recently stepped in formalin and who left this room in a hurry.
Well, can I walk on it and enter the room now, Holmes?
If this letter is addressed to him, it would appear our doctor is a veteran of the American Civil War. Vicksburg is the key. Now, that is interesting. This Dr. Tumblety seems to be attracted to men more than women. That much is clear. So, the doctor has a handgun, and he would use it to restrain young men, perhaps. There are a few pieces of a large glass jar in this puddle. The man who left the footprints on the ground must have walked in it while fleeing. These footprints are the same as those found in front of the door. These footsteps must be those of Squibby. He must have hit Tumblety, who dropped one of his jars.
And he ran out. Elementary, Holmes.
Perfect, Watson. Going by its size, this enormous trunk must be a wardrobe. These brackets are rather unusual. What do you think, Watson?
Let's see, Holmes. These are the names of the battles from the American Civil War.
Let's see. 5 latches, each fitted with a 6-number combination system. Elementary.
This is dreadful, Holmes. This trunk contains 4 jars in which organs are floating.
Watson, can you tell me at a glance what these organs are?
I would say that they are parts of female reproductive organs.
Are these specimens fresh?
No, and I am quite certain of it. From the colour and appearance, I'd say these organs have been in these jars for several months, if not years.
Let's go to Baker Street.
Is there someone here?
Yes.
What's going on, Finley? You seem to be in a panic.
The 2 police officers wanted to know if someone suspicious had entered here. The Whitechapel killer has struck again, and if I understood correctly, he killed 2 women in the past few hours.
Where?
I don't know. The police didn't tell me anything.
Quick, Holmes, we must catch up with them.
Certainly not, Watson. Mr. Finley, do you know if the doctor had any other pieces of luggage up there apart from this trunk?
1 or 2, I think.
Do you take care of the doctor's laundry?
My wife does laundry for the tenants once a week. The sheets likewise.
Would you be kind enough to let us know as soon as possible if the doctor shows up again?
Certainly. I'm just worried that he won't be back, you see, and I'm annoyed about my keys.
Holmes, I don't follow. The Whitechapel killer is, at this very moment, very close by, and we are just staying put, twiddling our thumbs.
The Whitechapel killer has always been nearby, and what will we do? Go back to the scene of the crime or crimes and mix with the onlookers and trample the crime scenes even more? No, our time will come. Let's return to Baker Street.
Let's go back to Baker Street. Home, sweet home. We were less than 200 feet away from the first victim a few minutes before she was murdered. We might even have heard the murderer's voice. And we haven't done a thing for the past week.
You're the one not doing anything, Watson. For my part, I have been working. And, as you know, I've made good use of this week by tracking down and verifying all of the solid facts on these 2 murders to write up the notes that are on my desk, read them over again and try to gain a bit of perspective.
I have read and reread them. But give me something to do then. A task where I can get stuck in, because...
Find me a slaughterhouse that will give us exclusive use of its block for an hour. And find me, in your opinion, which common animal shares the most characteristics with humans from a physiological point of view?
Pig?
I don't even know why I asked that question. Pray, find a dozen fresh pig's heads, Watson. Not big heads, I prefer small ones.
Sows?
That's it, Watson. As soon as you have done that, let me know. I request that you search in Whitechapel. Who knows, perhaps you will learn something about where Dr. Tumblety may be hiding. There is also no shortage of slaughterhouses and pig's heads in those parts.
What a ridiculous idea to have asked Holmes for something to do. Where on earth am I going to find... Good evening, Lucy. But is something wrong?
Good evening, Dr. Watson. Yes, it's my uncle. He's no longer with us.
Please accept my condolences, miss.
Thank you, Doctor. But why are you here? Can I help you?
My request may sound rather strange, But do you know if there is a butcher's or slaughterhouse in the area where pigs are killed?
Yes, Fletcher's the man. He was a regular client, owner of a little butcher's shop not far. But Miss Bella didn't want him to come, as long as he didn't treat his awful sickness.
Can you point to his shop on my map?
Certainly.
Do you know anything about the 2 latest murders?
Oh, goodness me, no. All the girls in the neighbourhood are terrified. Who will be next? That's what everyone is asking.
Do you know anything about...
Oh, good.
Goodbye, Lucy.
Until next time, perhaps, Doctor.
I have nothing to ask. Ah, there's Fletcher's butcher shop. Closed due to illness. If the proprietor is ill, the butcher's block is probably not being used. Perhaps I can use it. Now, where could a sick butcher have got to? Yes, if Fletcher is ill, he should be here.
Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Dr. Gibbons. I have come to see you because I was wondering if, by any chance, you happen to have a patient by the name of Fletcher, a butcher who would have relinquished his shop due to illness. An illness caught during nocturnal encounters, if you catch my drift.
Fletcher is one of the regulars at the clinic. Mercury treatment against syphilis. A night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury. He left London a fortnight ago for the fresh country air. Why is he of interest to you?
Oh, no reason. I'm more interested in using his shop, only for an hour or so. Would he have left his keys with family in the area?
He has none left, but he must have left Hardiman, the cat's meat seller, to oversee his shop. They're in business. They're good friends.
Do you know where he can be found?
No, but wander around the neighbourhood and listen for his beep beeps. He often passes in front of the clinic. Besides...
It's me that you're looking for, sweetheart.
Actually, no. I am looking for the cat food seller, Hardiman.
Hardiman? Poor Hardiman? It isn't quitting time for him yet. That gives me some time to wander the streets before he shows up, and with him all the cats hereabouts.
Do you know where he lives?
Sure. And for a copper, I might even tell you.
Here are a few coins.
You're too kind, Governor. Well, these days I knows that he lives with his mammy on Hanbury Street, in the same place where Dark Annie bled to death.
Why did you call him poor Hardiman?
Bah, he's in grieving, of course. Just a few weeks ago he lost his wife, and 3 months before that his girl, poor fella. He was in tatters, even came to cry on my shoulder, believe it or not.
Well, I must leave you. I must go to Hanbury Street. This is the building in which poor Annie Chapman was killed.
Beep beep. Beep beep.
Hello, are you Mr. Hardiman?
That's me.
I am Dr. Watson. I have come to see you about Fletcher's shop. I would like to use it for an hour or two, if you have the keys and your rates are reasonable.
Do you want to operate on someone in the butcher's?
Not at all. One of my friends needs it to prepare pig's heads.
Well, why not? Fletcher certainly wouldn't mind, but there's a problem.
A problem? How so?
This morning, the neighbour above broke his key in the door. The old boy must have already had a drink.
So?
Well, I tried my best to unjam it with Fletcher's spare key, which is pretty thin, and bam, that one broke too.
Hard luck. But if you have the end of the broken key, perhaps it can be fixed.
It must still be upstairs. I didn't pick it up. Fletcher has a key too, so I didn't think it was a problem. Fancy if I just had another key with a simpler blade, I could copy it. I'm great at odd jobs.
Fine, I will try to find all of that. Well, see you later then.
Goodbye, sir.
Oh, no. But what a... Ah, how dreadful. Kebabs, the same as Hardiman's. So he prepares his meat here. My word, these are innards. This bag contains butcher's equipment. Where can I find a key with a simpler blade? On a worthless door, perhaps. This key was left inadvertently. Indeed, there is nothing terribly precious inside. But what a stench!
Have you found...
There you go. I think you'll manage with all of this.
I'm sure I will, sir. It won't take me long.
Say, I think there's some of your business upstairs.
Oh, you're right. I ain't had the time to sort it out. Sometimes I'm in such a hurry to prepare my meat that I forget to clean up.
But why do it in the stairwell?
Offal bleeds bucket loads, they do, as you've seen. Now, why would I do that in my own lodgings?
Ah, of course. But what about your poor neighbours?
They owe it to me, all the times I've helped them out. And I don't have a shop either.
Say, you sell animal meat, isn't that right? Would you know where I could find a dozen small pig's heads?
The guy who gets me my offal should have some.
I'll pay your day's wages if you meet me at Fletcher's butcher shop in 2 hours with the pig's heads. Here's a little advance.
I'll do my best, Doctor.
The caretaker of another building told us that the place where your mother lives has a reputation for facilitating prostitutes' activities. Is that true?
Sure, the doors are never closed. They come through here like it's Paddington Station.
By the way, I heard about your loss. My condolences.
Ta, sir. I saw them die slow deaths. My little girl, her face was eaten by the disease.
Thank you, my friend, and please forgive me for bringing up such painful memories.
Go, I must do my rounds, and I will look for what you've asked for.
As for me, I will go and find Holmes, and we will go to the butcher's together. Let's return to Fletcher's butcher shop.
Your heads are on the block inside. Say, you wouldn't be the same chap who bought my whole load the other day?
It's possible, but if you want to continue to do business together, you mustn't speak of my presence in the area to anyone.
Don't worry, my lord. I'll be as quiet as a church mouse.